Once Etcher is done doing its job, it will eject the SD card from my computer, so I could just pull it out and then put it in the Raspberry Pi and apply power, and then we're up and ready to go. So all I did here was browse to controlpi port 1880, and you see right away I've got Node-RED up and running. There's still a few things that we need to do before we could start working with this. So let's say, for example, we'll pull over a node and try to deploy that, and you'll see right here that the deploy fails because the SD card is in read-only mode, which means we're not allowed to write to it. And we need that to make sure our Raspberry Pi runs and runs and runs, even if there's a power outage. There will also be times when we need to work on our system and make changes, of course. So to do that, we'll have to use a terminal window, and we'll log in over SSH. So in Mac, we'll use terminal. If you're on Windows, you'll download PuTTY and just open an SSH connection, and that'll be SSH, and the login is avprogrammer at controlpi, unless you do a network scan and you know the IP address that the Raspberry Pi got, just use controlpi because that's the host name. So a few things you may have noticed: the controlpi image comes with SSH enabled so that we could get in there and do stuff, and it also comes enabled with DHCP. So you'll need a DHCP server so that it could pull an IP address. And the goal of this controlpi image is that someday you won't have to use a terminal window at all. We're going to make a web page where you could configure everything that you need to do automation and control. But we're not there yet, so we still need to do some things here in the terminal window. So SSH to avprogrammer at controlpi, and it'll ask for the password, which is take back control. And now we're in. So you see right here at the prompt that it's in read-only mode. So to switch to read-write, we just type in RW and hit enter. It'll ask for the password, and we'll just type that in again. It'll ask for the password twice, and you see right here at the prompt, now we're in read-write. So if we wanted to, we could go over here, and this should deploy just fine now. You see that it's successfully deployed. And to go back into read-only, we go back to this terminal window, type in RO, and now we are in read-only after we enter the password. Let's see if I entered that right. Yes, I did. So you see here we're in read-only, and we can no longer write to that SD card. We'll get an image there. So that's something to keep in mind when you make your changes. Go into read-write mode, and don't forget to put it back into read-only when you're done. Now, there's a few other things that that we've built into this controlpi image. So whenever you log out of this SSH, if you're in read-write, it'll automatically go to read-only. If you shut it down, it'll boot up in read-only. So if you typed in shutdown, and that's dash H for halt, and now that would shut down the Raspberry Pi so that you could safely remove power. And when it boots up again, it would boot up in read-only, even if it was previously in read-write.